All right, we are going to watch a music video today called 81 Million Votes My Ass by Carrie Lake and the Truth Bombers. I think we all know who this video is about. And after the video, we'll talk about some of the things that happened in the 2020 election. All right, so let's get started here. I'm going to minimize my screen, my webcam here, so you can watch the video.
If you would have told me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that I would be in the middle of a political movement, I would have said, put down Hunter's crack pipe. Right now. Right now.
I can't afford the groceries. I can't afford your gas. It's bad inflation across the nation. 81 million votes my ass.
I'm sorry. This is too funny. It is so easy to make videos about Joe Biden and make songs about his presidency and make it a hit. This is actually doing very well on the charts, actually, right now.
Hey, 81 million votes my ass. You failed to build back better. You middle fingered the middle class.
They've pissed off an already pissed off woman.
81 million votes my ass.
The crime was committed in broad daylight.
121st day of publicly transitioning.
I love it.
We're living on planet crazy.
Got a laptop full of China, hookers and blows and crack, and the diary's got Creepy Joe in the shower. 81 million votes my ass.
Hello.
81 million votes my ass. While Kamala tosses word salads that even cringe the Democrats. Waiting in the wings is a thing called Hillary. 81 million votes my ass. Hey, 81 million votes my ass.
And at first I chuckled. I said, oh my gosh, Hillary Clinton is actually talking about me? That's funny. And then I got to thinking, maybe that's not funny. Oh my gosh, help, help. And I just want you all to know I'm in perfect health. We've recently had our automobile serviced and the tires are good and the brakes are in good order and I am not suicidal.
And white and blue is broken.
How many times has this guy fallen? Man.
81 million votes my ass. 81 Joe, don't make me laugh. 2,000 mules got busy stuffing 45's ballots in the trash.
It is despicable what they did and I will not let these bastards get away with it.
81 million votes my ass.
Our economy is strong as hell.
He had the swamp going after him and he was still getting stuff done. And now we have stumbling, bumbling Joe. I miss the bull in the china shop.
Me too. I want the bull in the china shop back.
I miss the mean tweets. I miss Donald Trump. 81 million votes. My ass.
Who's going to win the American election? Give me a name.
Donald Trump.
Wow. Wow.
Somebody is going to run a 30-second sizzle reel showing Mr. Biden falling down.
Totally agree.
Whew. Man, that was great. I really enjoyed that video. It highlighted a lot of things that we're seeing, like the inflation and this woke nonsense going on across the country, this transgender stuff. The economy's not doing as great as it was, and highlighting some of the things that happened in the election with the stuffing of the ballots, the tearing of the ballots on video, people on TikTok tearing up Trump ballots and putting them in a trash bag. These were all things that had an impact on the election. Now, if you have not seen 2000 Mules, I recommend watching it because it really does highlight a lot of what happened in the election and why a lot of people don't think the election was fair, why they think it was stolen. Which I will tell you, I do believe the election was rigged, and I do think it was stolen. I believe I've been studying this for a long time. I've seen things that have happened, and it was rigged, no doubt. Now, if you have not seen another movie that's only 40 minutes long, it's called Rigged by David Bussey. You can I'll put the link in the description box below. It's about $5 to watch, 42 minutes long. It's actually very informative, and it talks about how Mark Zuckerberg spent $420 million on the election. 90% of that money went to counties that Joe Biden won. What this did, it got out the vote for Biden. It tipped the scale heavily in favor of Joe Biden and not Donald Trump. Let's see. Trump supporters and critics of the scheme believe it was helped juice the pro-Biden vote in states such as Arizona, Wisconsin, and Georgia, where Biden edged Trump by a combined vote of just 43,000. Yeah, so 43,000 votes in these 3 states made all the difference in the election, because I think if you didn't have this nonsense here, Trump would have won, among other things. Now, what he did was so does a nonpartisan election funds to help local election boards. Much of the funding went to Democratic counties in Wisconsin. A state-backed investigation found that some $10.3 million from the groups helped boost Democratic votes in the state count that Biden won by 20,686. The group spent $45 million in Georgia, where Biden won by 11,779 votes, and $5.1 million in Arizona, where Biden won by 10,457 votes. In some areas around the country, the Zuckerberg funding pushed per vote spending by election officials to nearly $5 in Biden counties won, compared to just over $1 in Trump counties won. Yeah. You tell me that's not rigging an election or tipping the scale in an election towards somebody's favor. So when Trump says the election was rigged, he's absolutely right. And who knows what else happened when this organization took over voting offices and things like that, the voting processes in certain counties. I think a lot of shady things happened behind the scenes, why we saw these ballot dumps at 3-4 o'clock in the morning when Trump was already winning by a massive amount in these swing states. 800,000 in Pennsylvania, he was up by about 300,000, 400,000 in Georgia, hundreds of thousands of votes in Wisconsin, and all of a sudden the states, 5 swing states stopped counting, 5 or 6 swing states stopped counting at the same time, roughly around the same time. But why did Texas and Florida and other states get these states their voting counted so quickly? I don't know. No, I think we know why. This had a huge impact on the election. So watch 2000 Mules and watch, or you can watch Rigged by David Bussey, and you'll see what happened. What played a big factor in Biden clinching a nomination. Now, this one is actually pretty clear cut as well, in my opinion. Some people think this is more clear cut. The media censorship of certain issues, like the Hunter Biden laptop, which has been talked about greatly. This is from Newsbusters, MR Media Research Center. Left-wing news media didn't just poison the information environment with their incessantly negative coverage of President Trump going into the 2020 election. They also refused to give airtime to important arguments of the Republican campaign, both pro-Trump and anti-Biden, which meant millions of voters cast their ballots knowing only what the media permitted them to know about the candidates. To measure the true effect of the media censorship on the election, the Media Research Center asked the polling company to survey 1,750 Biden voters in 7 swing states. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Did I miss one anyway? Six of which all but North Carolina were called for Biden. Yes, and I remember North Carolina stopped. The vote was stalled for days. It seemed like. I guess because they realized they didn't need that anymore to win. It says, we tested these voters' knowledge of 8 news stories. All important topics that our ongoing analysis had shown the liberal news media have failed to cover properly. We found that a huge majority, 82% of Biden voters, were unaware of at least one of these key items, with 5% saying they were unaware of these issues were tested. The issues we tested. The lack of information proved crucial. 1 of every 6 Biden voters were surveyed, 17%, so they would have abandoned the Democrat candidate had they known the facts about one or more of these news stories. A shift of this magnitude would have changed the outcome in all 6 swing states won by Joe Biden, and Donald Trump would have comfortably won a second term as president. Let's see. So this one is about 35.4% were unaware of the serious allegations brought against the Democrat nominee by Tara Reade, a former staffer who said Biden sexually assaulted her in the 90s. If they had known about Tara Reade's sexual allegations, 8.9% told us they would have changed their vote, either switching to Trump or a third-party candidate, not voting for any presidential candidate or not voting at all. By itself, this would have flipped all 6 swing states won by Joe Biden, giving the president a win with 311 electoral college votes. Now, this is the big one right here, the most talked about one. Even more Biden voters, 45.1%, said they were unaware of the financial scandal developing Biden and his son, Hunter, the laptop story, censored by Twitter and Facebook. According to our poll, full awareness of the Hunter Biden scandal would have led to a 9.4% of Biden voters to abandon the Democrat nominee, flipping all 6 swing states to Trump. That he won to Trump, giving the president 311 electoral votes. And there are other things that were mentioned as well. Let's take a look. So the Biden sex scandals, 9%, Hunter Biden scandal, 9%. Another one, Harris most left. If Democrats knew that, if Biden voters knew that Kamala Harris was more to the left than Bernie Sanders, 4.1% would have shifted away from Biden. In issues that were pro-Trump, that the media censored played a factor as well. The 33.1% economic growth just before the election, the GDP growth that came out right before the election, 49% were unaware. 5.6% would have shifted away from Biden. 11 million jobs created. 39.4% were unaware. 5.4% would have shifted away from Biden. Energy independence. 50.5% didn't know about the energy independence under Donald Trump. That's a lot. 5.8% would have shifted. Middle East peace deals. How did people not know about this? Well, it's because they don't do their own research. They only watch CNN or MSNBC. 5% would have shifted their vote. Now, Trump made some peace deals, the Abraham Accords, which is a big accomplishment. The fact that Trump had a Operation Warp Speed. A lot of people didn't know that Trump had a key role in getting the vaccine out. Whether you agree with it or not at the time, it was very big for getting the economy back on track. I didn't take the vaccine. I have no intention to. I never will. I have never had any intention to take the vaccine for various reasons. But despite what you think about it, a lot of people didn't know about the administration's key role in promoting the vaccine research, Operation Warp Speed. If they had 5.3%, so they would have abandoned Biden. Yes, and I remember they announced the rollout of the vaccine. What was it, December after the election? And they sat on that for months. Putting it all together, looking at these all 8 issues, our poll found that a total of 17% of Biden voters would have told us they would have changed their vote had they been aware of more important stories. And Biden would have trounced, Trump would have trounced Biden in the Electoral College, 311 to 227. This is nuts. This is nuts right here. Now we get into that, what numbers would have looked like. Pennsylvania, 15% would have changed the vote had they known these issues. That's a 435 vote win for Trump, margin for Trump. Michigan would have been 237,000 vote margin for Trump. Georgia 356, Arizona 340, Wisconsin 191, Nevada 71,000 vote difference. Yeah, even North Carolina would have had an impact. Even though he won that state, he would have won it by a bigger margin. This is media censorship, and this is how they stole. The media stole the election. They rigged it, whatever you want to call it. Some people say they stole it. Some people say it was rigged to tip the scale. However you want to look at it, the election was not free and fair. And I think my thing, yes, I think the Hunter Biden laptop was huge, but what we saw on election night was total BS. With the stopping of the swing states, we saw these massive vote spikes for Biden at night. In the Time magazine story says laid out the whole plan of what they intended to do in the election, how they wanted to fortify the election. They wanted to censor certain stories. They wanted to, they put money into the election to swing votes, to change the vote process in favor of Biden. You had all these states changing laws before the election in favor of Joe Biden, knowing it would be in favor of Joe Biden with the mail-in ballots and things like that. And there was a guy who told me before the election of June 2020, I asked him about the election, what he thinks is going to happen. He's a hardcore conservative. He said, I think they're going to steal the election. This is back in June of 2020. He said they're going to steal the election with all these mail-in ballots. And then the night of the election, he texted me saying, 5 states are going to stop counting. They're going to steal it. I said, oh, man. This guy is rarely wrong. He's only been wrong about one thing, and that's about Texas going blue by 2020. He said this back in 2011. But anyway, he's been right about everything else. Even another lady I know said the same thing. She said they're going to steal it from him a couple months before the election. And look at this. Just take a look. Watch this movie if you have not seen it. $400 million juiced for Joe Biden. Yeah. Well, that's my take. And I love talking about the election. Now that YouTube is allowing it. But on my Rumble channel a while back, I did talk about it a lot. But when you get a chance, watch these movies, 2,000 Mules and Rigged, and you'll see what happened if you haven't taken a deep dive yet. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.